These are the Viture Luma Pro XR glasses. They are the first XR glasses that work with the Nintendo Switch 2. I'm going to say they're the best because they're the only ones I've tried. So we've actually checked these out before, not these exact models, but the previous Viture glasses, the very originals, and then the Pros, but these are the new Luma Pros. And I'm going to say straight off the bat, you've got to be rich to own these. They are extremely expensive, and if you want to use them on the Switch 2, you're pretty much forced to buy another accessory. We're going to talk about everything here today, and I do want to say this is a sponsored video by Viture, but they've not told us to say anything specifically or anything like that, and I'm going to be totally honest, as I always am. So whilst there's some things I really love about the Viture XR Luma Pro glasses, there are some things that let them down a little bit for me, especially when it comes to the Switch 2. So we will talk about that very soon, but I do want to say things that I love. These have a 152-inch screen with 52 degrees field of view and 1000 nits with Sony 1200p screens inside. They've got myopia adjustments with the top little dials, which is really cool because, you know, for someone like me, I've got glasses, so if you know your adjustments, you can dial them in on the top just there. And one thing I really like about these is the Harman audio. So they've got tiny little speakers built in so that when you actually put them on, you're getting really good audio, like extremely good audio. I was really surprised every time I try these kind of things on, right? I'm like, the audio is just so good. Like, it really, really is. You can hear it elsewhere. It's not like private audio, you know? If you're sat in a room, if that room's quiet, you will hear it. Now, the packaging and everything like that they give you is exceptional. It comes with a little case. It also has different like nose grips. So when you put it on your face, it will suit you personally. So you can adjust these. The default ones are absolutely perfect for me. I just found these are easier to use and the default options are just perfect for my use case. So you've got like mirrors and stuff going on here with little screens inside there, and you can actually dim the sort of outside world if you want. So you put them on and then you can just look around you if you want. So if you're like on a train or something, you can still see whilst gaming, which is really cool because if you are in a public space, you probably want to see what's going on around you. You know, if someone's kicking a football towards you and you're sat in a park, you want to see that happening. But if you don't want to see that happening, you want to risk it and hit in the face, well then you can just press a button and it will literally dim the screens so that not only do you see your own game clearer, but you don't see anything else around you. But literally a press of the button and it goes from seeing everything to not seeing anything. And I really like this feature. It's just really simple. You don't have to buy any guards or shields to like put over the end or anything like that. You can just press a button and it works. But putting them on, they just feel lighter than the previous ones. I don't know what they've done to the design, but they just feel a lot more comfortable. I thought they were comfortable before, but these are almost like not really that much heavier than my normal glasses. Weirdly, even though they're really big and chunky, they don't feel top heavy. They're not falling off of my face or anything. It's surprisingly fine. But essentially what this does is gives you a 152-inch screen anywhere you want. Now, my biggest thing for this, my favorite way of using these is laying down. Laying down, because that's the worst thing to do when you're playing a handheld gaming device, is laying down and trying to hold the thing above you. It's frustrating, right? You know, no one installs a TV on the ceiling. I mean, props to you, and let me know down in the comments if you have done. But this totally gets around that. So if you're bedridden, I'm not even joking, or like, you know, just enjoy laying in bed like my wife does, then you could be wearing these all the time and just laying down with a 152-inch screen on your ceiling or like nowhere if you put the dimming zone on, right? And then you can have your Joy-Cons in either hand, and you can just play your Switch 2 or any other handheld in that matter, or even your console, and we can talk about that now. So this is actually one of the down points I would need to talk about, is they do not connect directly to the Switch 2. If you plug them into the Switch, it just does not work. The Switch needs to think it's docked. So you either need to actually dock the Switch, right? And then put an HDMI cable out to this separately purchased accessory, which is not only a power bank, but an actual dock, right? So you can have two glasses plugged in here. So you could actually have two people viewing the same thing. So you could play co-op or anything like that. Like, it's totally possible, but you will need to buy two pairs of glasses, which are very expensive. We'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, so you can either dock your Switch 2 and then run the HDMI to this and then have your glasses out, or you need to plug this cable in here and then plug this cable into the bottom of your Switch, right? Which is really short. Like, it's a very short cable, but that's the one it comes with. Okay, fine. And then you plug your glasses into the dock, right? So yeah, that's cool. You can get like a clamp, I guess, that puts the power bank onto the back of the Switch 2. That's cool, because you think, oh, you know, I'll just play like this then. You know, I can play like this and have my glasses on the face. No, you're wrong. Because the Switch 2 thinks it's docked, so it wants you to take the Joy-Cons off. So you have to, like, kind of set this aside, then take your Joy-Cons off, and then put this on your head. And that's cool. Like, I actually prefer playing like this. This is my preferred play style, right? So I'd much rather just have a Joy-Con in either hand and then just play like this rather than trying to hold everything up. But I have to bring that up as like a bit of a negative, because you must set it aside and then take your Joy-Cons off, because otherwise the Switch is like, no, you're docked. You're not playing with the Joy-Cons attached. Remove them. Obviously, if you've got a separate controller, then that's totally fine. If you're playing with like a Pro controller or something, that will work, no problem. But if you want to play with the Joy-Cons, you've got to detach them. You can't hold the thing handheld, right? So you've got to buy this dock, which is a power bank, which is a win. So you're going to get a really good time this way. But yeah, you got to buy that and then detach your Joy-Cons. So it's kind of frustrating. Oh, and the clamp thing that puts this is another purchase as well. So if you are traveling, you're probably going to want to buy that so that you can set that aside so that you can then rock this setup. A little bit frustrating. The thing that I find better for me personally is using something like my Ally X, right? Because I can plug the glasses directly into here. I don't need to mess around with the dock. I don't even have to buy the dock if I didn't want to. I can literally just put the glasses directly into one of the USB-C ports at the top, and then it works. And I can actually play like this using the onboard controls. I don't have to set up a separate controller or anything like that. So that is a big win for me, and I've actually been using it more with my Ally X rather than my Switch 2, purely because of that fact. But once it is docked and you're actually playing it, right, then it's really good. That 152-inch screen is exceptional clarity. Like, it's so much clearer than the previous ones. Like, and the last ones, the Pros, were even clearer again than the ones before, which is really good. Like, I can't get over how good of an experience this is. The only issue I've got with it is really just the price, and I guess that's just coming from me that would not be able to afford to buy these, you know, off the shelf. If I wanted to purchase these, they're extremely expensive. Again, we will come to the price in a second, but for the actual technology that's in these, they are exceptional. But you can change the brightness, you can change the volume and everything on the fly with the onboard controls underneath on the arms. So technology-wise, these are fantastic. My favorite use case is laying down. By far, laying down or slouching down or whatever makes this extremely comfortable, especially when you are forced to take your Joy-Cons off, because then you can actually just chill, not having to hold the weight of the system. So in that regard, it is really good. In general, for like portability and everything when using the Switch 2, it's a bit of a faff because you're going to have that dock and then the clip that goes on there just to make it nice and uniform. I wish that clip came with the dock, but it doesn't. That's an extra purchase. So a little bit frustrating. But for me, again, like I said, just taking the glasses and plugging them directly into my Ally X is just a win for me, because it's just straight plug and go. All I need is the lead and the glasses, nothing else. And I keep banging on about the price and how like expensive it is, and that's because they are seriously expensive, like extremely expensive. Again, you're getting top-end tech here, which is very cool, very fun. It's very hard for me to explain because it's kind of one of these things that you need to experience. But everyone that I've let use these, whether it's the old ones or these new ones, have been like, wow, this is like mind-blowing. And it really is when you disregard the price. You know, like when you take away the price from it, you're like, wow, this is amazing. Like these are so cool. The use case is fantastic. But yeah, just price is a little bit of a concern. So the Viture Luma, not these ones, the ones we are looking at today are the Pros, but the Luma are $399, $400 just for the glasses. That's it. Right, the Luma Pro, which we have, which are available now, I believe all the other ones are still on pre-order at the time of filming this video. Right, so the Luma Pro are $500. The Ultras are $600. And the Viture Beast are $550. Now, bear in mind, like, let's just take what I've been looking at today, right? Because that's the only ones I've used, so they're the only ones I can actually have, like, an opinion on, right? So we're looking at the Luma Pro, $500. The dock is another $129. That's $628. $628, and that's without the clip. I don't even know how much the clip is. Probably another $20, $30. I don't know. But you're paying a minimum of $628 for this setup just here. Bear in mind the Switch. What's the Switch in America? I'm not too sure, guys. You need to tell me down in the comments what the price of the Switch is in America. Over here, the Switch is £400. $629 comes to probably about £550. So you're paying way more for this than you are for the actual cost of the system. But of course, you will be able to use these with other devices if you've got multiple devices. And like I was alluding to earlier when I said you can use it with other consoles, that's because this dock has an HDMI in. So you could plug a PC in, you could plug a PS5 or a PS5 Pro in, you could plug an Xbox in, you could plug your Switch 1 in, you could plug whatever you want into it via HDMI, and then certain things via USB-C as well, whether that be direct or via the dock. But yeah, so whilst I love them, and Viture, I really, really love these glasses. I really do. Like, I think they're fantastic. I wouldn't be able to afford them if I wanted to purchase them myself. Like, that is a lot of money. So when you factor in the price of whatever the device is that you're buying, and then these on top, you're spending a lot of money. However, if you've got a lot of money, first of all, send me some. But if you don't want to do that, then check out the Viture Luma Pro or any of the other range, right? Because they are seriously good. If money is no object, these are just the coolest bit of tech that you could have in your bag, ready for any situation. I think they are fantastic. I really do. My only reservations are the price. But of course, you are paying for top-end tech, and for top-end tech, you pay a price. I mean, look at the Ally X. This thing's like an £800 PC, so, you know, I can't speak too much. But there we go. That is the Viture Luma XR glasses, or the Pros at least, for the Nintendo Switch 2 or for anything else for that matter. I think they're fantastic. Let me know if you've had experience with these down in the comments. Once down there, like this video, subscribe, become a member. You can find links to all of this stuff down in the description, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.